Thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. Here we are taking you live through our First Alert chopper, showing you an aerial perspective of a massive police presence just off of I-20 in Fulton County. We are following this live with you. You can see crime scene tape really establishing around the perimeter of this police vehicle here, and several law enforcement units on scene. We can tell you a number of law enforcement has responded: Atlanta Police, the Fulton County Marshals, and South Fulton police officers all on scene assisting with this, and a large portion of the road is currently closed. This is I-20, one more time, I-20 near Fulton County Industrial Boulevard. It is completely shut off. The highway, now the center of an investigation, as a massive police presence is seen in this area. If you are a motorist, if you are someone who is planning to be near or around this route, you are just not going to be able to get through this area. Do plan accordingly. Right now, there is a massive police presence that has shut down a significant portion of I-20 near Fulton County Industrial Boulevard. Officers are also around Grady. I want to show you that live picture right now. This is our Atlanta News First crews outside of Grady Hospital, and you can see those same police vehicles lining outside of the hospital, and we are working to get more information for you at this time. I'm going to see if I can put these shots side by side for you. As we continue to gather more information, I'll take you through everything that we know and everything that we are still working to know live here on Atlanta News First Plus. And you can see on your left-hand side a live video from our Atlanta News First crews showing you the current situation at Grady Hospital. And then to your right, our First Alert chopper over the scene of I-20 near Fulton County, or near Fulton Industrial. The latest of what we know, and I'm going to update my graphic here in a moment, is that there was some sort of exchange of gunfire that resulted in two law enforcement officers being injured, a Fulton County police officer and a South Fulton police officer. We are told at this time that the suspect in this investigation was also wounded and has died from those injuries. Again, we are currently following an active situation that has shut down a portion of I-20. We also have on your left-hand side, you can see a significant amount of law enforcement vehicles lining up outside of Grady Hospital, and really multiple departments you could see here. South Fulton as well as Fulton County responding to Grady Hospital, and then an even more significant police presence here at First Alert Chopper. I just want to take it full so you can see what we're looking at here. And for those of you that are just joining us, because I see a few of you hopping in and really seeing this for the first time, I just want to walk you through what you're looking at. This is First Alert Chopper over the scene of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, the 4,000th block of Fulton Industrial Boulevard. We were told that there was some sort of incident near the area of a motel here that has resulted in an exchange of gunfire that has left a Fulton County police officer and a South Fulton police officer injured and a suspect dead. We are working to learn the latest, but right now a very active scene both here along Fulton Industrial Boulevard and, of course, at Grady Hospital closer to Midtown. Thank you for bearing with me. Just wanted to update that graphic so you could see on your screen and the latest information of what we're learning. 2 officers have been shot, were taken to Grady Hospital, and a suspect killed at a motel just off of I-20 in Fulton County. That's what you're looking at, by the way. This is I-20, southwest Atlanta, near the Fulton County Industrial Boulevard area. You could see traffic starting to grow as a portion of this area now closed off as part of this investigation. And when we were closer, giving you a closer look at the scene, you could see at least 10 police vehicles, likely more, responding to this scene. That is because there are several law enforcement officers helping with this investigation, considering that there were 2 officers from different police departments that were injured. I want to take you through everything that we know and still what we're working to learn as this situation continues to develop. Still very an active scene that you're looking at here. We also have eyes on Grady Hospital, where we see a number of law enforcement vehicles parked outside with officers standing by, which we typically see with a shooting involving officers much like this one. So we do know at this time that 2 officers were shot. A suspect is dead after some sort of exchange of gunfire at a motel near the Fulton County Industrial Boulevard area. Now, Fulton County police were the first to respond to what was a report of a suspicious person near a Budgetel Inn and Suite motel. This was along Fulton Industrial Boulevard. That South Fulton police officer responding to those initial reports, again, arrived and the situation escalated from there, according to police. And an exchange of gunfire led to 2 officer injuries and a suspect that was shot and died. We are still monitoring this very active police presence. Again, this happening just before noon at around 11:40. So you can imagine this is going to remain a scene for quite some time. But now Fulton County Marshals, South Fulton Police, and Atlanta Police on scene. We saw a couple other law enforcement vehicles as well responding, which we, again, typically see with an officer-involved shooting of this magnitude. You have every law enforcement agency that is available to assist responding to this scene, and that is both true of the southwest Atlanta area of Fulton County Industrial Boulevard near this motel where the incident happened, and on your left-hand side, the Grady Memorial Hospital, where we are told those officers were transported for their injuries. And again, continuing to monitor this scene, I just want to take you to First Alert Chopper, pulling that out full while we monitor both the situation outside of Grady Memorial Hospital and I-20. This is, again, the center of a scene where 2 officers were shot, and a suspect we now know is dead in this investigation. Still really an active scene, as those officers were told have been transported to the hospital, but several law enforcement agencies assisting with this. Now, this all began a little before noon, around 11:40 a.m. There was some sort of exchange of gunfire at a motel along Fulton County Industrial Boulevard. We are told that's when 2 officers were shot, and a suspect was also shot and died from that incident. Again, those 2 officers transported to Grady Hospital, which, just to bring you back, you see on your left-hand side, that is the scene outside of Grady Hospital. A number of law enforcement vehicles, a number of law enforcement officials you can see standing by, waiting for any news on their colleagues. And then to the right, you have First Alert Chopper kind of showing you the crime scene tape, the police vehicles, and this road that has been blocked off as law enforcement agencies continue to investigate. This was initially a suspicious person call that Fulton County Police responded to at a Budgetel Inn and Suites along Fulton Industrial, and that is where the officer, the South Fulton police officer that responded, we believe at this time was injured, and again, that exchange of gunfire leading to the suspect's death happened. Now, from there, we know that a number of law enforcement agencies did respond. Atlanta Police, Fulton County Marshals, and South Fulton Police are responded and are assisting with this active scene. You can see really more and more vehicles start to arrive, and some conversations being discussed at this time among law enforcement officials, who I'm sure are conducting this investigation very thoroughly. But again, the scene remains on your right-hand side of I-20, currently shut down as more and more law enforcement agencies arrive and begin to assist with this investigation. And to your left, Grady Memorial Hospital, where you have law enforcement officials on standby, waiting to learn really the extent of these officers' injuries, and standing by to make sure that they are there in support and in assistance in any way that they can. We do also know that the suspect in this investigation has died. The suspect also shot. Not much known about that person's identity, but we are still working to find out really the details of the initial incident and everything that happened thereafter.
that the emergency people, came, first responders came to show up to help them out.
You ever witnessed anything like this?
No, I haven't. So
I'm sure you're still processing. I mean, what is this like?
Yeah, well, it's definitely it's not something you expect. I mean, it's a beautiful day out here. The weather is nice, and there's children walking around and everything, and it's pretty disheartening and very surprising. Not anything you would expect right off the top of your head to see or hear those shots going off. And I'm glad at least it didn't happen at a school or something like can be the case sometimes these days. So.
Do you live around here? Or
No, I don't.
Yes,
I'm just passing through. So this is actually my first time to Atlanta. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live in California right now. Yeah.
So you're passing through for work?
Yeah. I just had some business, and I wouldn't have been here other than I needed some fuel, so I just pulled off the freeway and got. So, like I said, I wouldn't have expected that to happen right here.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for talking to us.
And I just wanted to take you out as our reporters are speaking with community members and really getting the reaction to all of this. You heard from a gentleman who is visiting Atlanta from California and saying this was his first time in Atlanta, and this is what he saw, this large and heavy police presence, a blocked off road, and now we're learning of 2 officers shot and a suspect that has died. So again, really an active scene and ongoing investigation. And as we get more of these reactions, I'll take you out live to those. I do have the sound on our first alert chopper down just because it is a blaring frequency, and I didn't want to injure anybody's ears while you're tuning into this live stream, but I did want to just show you the visual. And as we get more and more perspectives of this, we do have our eyes on Grady Memorial Hospital, where we're told those officers were taken for treatment of their injuries. We can still see a number of law enforcement vehicles perimetering that hospital. I'm going to take you there briefly so you can see the situation we're looking at here. And again, the current information of what we know now is that 2 officers have been shot and taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. A suspect is dead after a gunfire exchange near a motel in Fulton County along Fulton County Industrial Boulevard in the southwest Atlanta area. And this is First Alert Chopper still over the scene. Those vehicles that you see down below, a number of law enforcement agencies that have responded and are assisting with this investigation. Typically, when we do hear of a shooting involving an officer, we see this level of response with And apologies, just briefly had to step away as a very busy newsroom here behind the scenes. We're gathering information, working to learn more about the suspect, the 2 officers, their conditions, and really get you as much information for those of you in this community, either passing through or maybe you live and work in this space. We're trying to get you as much information on what this area will look like in the coming minutes and hours, and really the details of this investigation and where law enforcement is at this very moment. But this is a live picture from Fulton County Industrial Boulevard, our First Alert Chopper, showing you this Budgetel Inn and Suites motel where this shooting apparently took place. We're told that 2 officers were injured and a suspect now we're told dead after a gunfire exchange. This was initially a response to a suspicious person call, a 911 call that was placed. Someone reported a person at or near this motel acting to them suspiciously. That is where a Fulton County police officer responded, arriving at around 11:40, just before noon, and the situation, of course, escalating from there. We're told when that officer got to the scene, there was some sort of shots exchanged, and as a result, 2 law enforcement officers were injured, a Fulton County police officer and a South Fulton police officer. Of course, the suspect, we're told, also has died at this time. South Fulton Police Department telling us that those two officers, again, injured in this shooting. Now we are monitoring Grady Memorial Hospital and working to learn more about the extent of those injuries. Meanwhile, heavy police presence still remains along Fulton County Industrial, just outside of this motel. We know that there are several law enforcement vehicles responding: Atlanta Police, Fulton County Marshals, and South Fulton Police. We have Atlanta News First crews on the scene, both outside of Grady Memorial Hospital and right here where you're looking, Fulton County Industrial, speaking to some community members and getting their reaction. And of course, we're going to bring that to you in their reports later on this afternoon and evening on Atlanta News First, starting at 3. We're still taking a live look right now. This is I-20 from our first alert chopper, showing you an aerial perspective. That parking lot that you see, a law enforcement vehicle, a few officers standing around, that is the location where this incident, we're told, happened at a Budgetel Inn and Suites motel. And then to your left is Fulton County Industrial Boulevard, where you can see crime scene tape and a number of law enforcement vehicles blocking off this area. That is going to remain the case until they get further into their investigation and are able to reopen the road. Right now, motorists are being encouraged to take alternate routes and diverted. You are not going to be able to pass through this area as this investigation continues. And again, this stemming from a suspicious person call that was that an officer responded to at about 11:40 this morning, just before the noon hour, and the situation escalating from there. We're told that there was some sort of exchange of gunfire. 2 officers were shot. The suspect is dead. That's according to South Fulton Police. And the initial officer that responded to that suspicious person call, Fulton County police officer, taken to Grady Memorial. Again, we are still working to learn the identity of the suspect and more information about really how this all started, that suspicious person call, and everything that escalated from there, the details of that situation, and of course the condition of the 2 officers. We see a number of law enforcement vehicles parked outside of Grady Memorial Hospital, and then earlier we saw law enforcement officers standing by outside, just waiting to learn information about their colleagues and fellow law enforcement person. Again, with these types of investigations, with these types of incidents, when you talk about shooting involving a law enforcement officer, in this case, two of them, you typically do see a large response from law enforcement agencies, not just within that specific department, but neighboring jurisdictions sometimes, and really anyone that's available to help. And so for that reason, we see the marshals, Atlanta police also assisting some vehicles on scene, taking you back to First Alert Chopper here, as you can see that crime scene tape extending fully across the road of Fulton County Industrial Boulevard, and a number of officers standing by. Again, we are working to get more information from behind the scenes. We have several crews on the ground in different areas of where this incident happened. And so as soon as we can touch base with them, get you more information and really another perspective of what you're looking at here. All right, thank you for your patience. Just needed to step away for a moment to touch base with our reporter. Chelsea Beinfor will be joining us here in a few moments to talk about what she's seeing and some of the reaction she's getting from witnesses in the area. Again, our Atlanta News First crews at this location on the ground of Fulton County Industrial Boulevard in southwest Atlanta. We also have crews outside of Grady Memorial Hospital, where we're told those two officers were taken to get their injuries really examined and hopefully treated. The extent of those injuries are not known at this time. We do know that two officers were shot and a suspect is dead. This stemming from a suspicious person call that happened just before the noon hour, where a South Fulton police officer responded to that call. And an exchange of gunfire happened that led to, again, those two officers being shot. Now a suspect we know has been has died. We don't know the identity of that suspect. We're working to learn more information about that suspicious call, the details of that, and really what the conversation was with dispatch, and of course who that suspect was. Right now we're getting limited information from police and law enforcement in the area, as they're still in the beginning stages of this investigation. They have been on scene really since just before noon, responding to this area, and there are several departments that, I mean, you can see that from First Alert Chopper. I want to take you full here. You have Atlanta police assisting, Fulton police, of course, responding, one of their own injured in this incident. Fulton County police officer and a South Fulton police officer both shot and taken to Grady Memorial. And a number of other law enforcement agencies. We're talking about the marshals responding as well, and just assisting as best as they can. And just the magnitude and the perimeter that was established, you can see outlined with crime scene tape. You are not getting through this portion of I-20 along Fulton County Industrial Boulevard until this investigation is further into its depths and they can clear this road. Right now we can see evidence markers and a number of police vehicles along with that crime scene tape that is showing us that this is still going to take a little bit of time before those roads can reopen. So for the drivers passing through this area, for some of the witnesses that we've already spoken to, still going to be an active scene for quite some time, and we're going to continue to follow that here on Atlanta News First Plus. No estimated clear time, at least not soon here, for Fulton County Industrial Boulevard in this area of southwest Atlanta. We are, again, still working to learn more about who the officers were that were involved and injured in this investigation and the extent of those injuries, as well as more information about the suspect who we now are told has died. Keeping our eyes here on First Alert Chopper and the aerial perspective that we're able to bring to you over the scene of Fulton County Industrial Boulevard in southwest Atlanta. I just stepped away for a moment to talk with our reporter, Chelsea Beimfor. She is on the ground here in this area, talking to witnesses, trying to get more details from law enforcement and the investigators that are on scene. We will be speaking with her here in a few moments. I believe they're just getting ready to talk to us and get us some new details. And as soon as we do that, we'll both be able to get you hopefully some more recent information as well as a ground perspective of what you're looking at. Our First Alert Chopper zooming out a little just so you can see the situation with traffic in this area. Again, this is a significant portion of I-20. Fulton County Industrial Boulevard is closed off near the Budgetel Inn and Suites in southwest Atlanta. That is where really this all started. There was a suspicious person call, a 911 call that was placed. An officer responded to that call, and when that officer arrived, there was shots fired, some sort of exchange of gunfire, we're told, and 2 officers were injured. The South Fulton police officer and a Fulton County police officer, both of whose identities have not been shared with us at this time, and we are still working to learn the extent of their injuries. I do see also really at the center of that diamond that the crime scene tape has created appears to be a law enforcement vehicle with some sort of damage to it. We're still working to learn more about what that is and really how it's connected to the investigation. But right now you can see law enforcement still on the scene. I do believe we're about to lose our aerial perspective here, so I'll try to move to a ground shot for you. A First Alert Chopper trying to get you as close to the scene as investigators continue to comb through the area, placing evidence markers, really surveying the scene. I'm going to try to take you here to our ground shot, again, from our Atlanta News First Cruise. We're still waiting to speak with one of our reporters on the ground, but hopefully that gives you a more close-up shot as you can see how much crime scene tape is up at a really wide perimeter. And you can only imagine what the situation must have looked like as more law enforcement vehicles started to respond to this scene. I believe we started seeing a massive response police presence within 20 minutes of that first officer arriving, likely less time than that. So that has only grown since then. The situation a little more calm than it was at the beginning of the noon hour, as we know that now those 2 officers were taken to Grady Memorial Hospital for treatment, and the suspect is dead there's not believed to be at this time a threat to the community, and we are again working to learn more details at this time. I'm going to try to step away here for a moment to connect with our reporter who is on the ground, and hopefully we can get you some more perspective of some of the witnesses that we're talking to and really the most recent information that we're getting. All right, and I'm going to try to see if we can get our Atlanta News First reporter, Chelsea Beimfor, here with us. Chelsea, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Maria.
Chelsea, so I was kind of explaining the information that we've gotten from law enforcement so far and the investigators, but you've actually been on the ground just behind this crime scene tape talking to some of the witnesses in the area. What are they telling you?
Yeah, Maria, this is Fulton Industrial Boulevard. You can see the massive police presence here, all of the crime scene tape. We can see evidence markers on the ground, some shell casings. This is one of the scenes. There's also a second scene up the hill. Can't really see it from where we're standing, but our first alert chopper was, I believe, showing you pictures of that earlier. That's the second part of the scene in the hotel parking lot of the Budgetel here off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard, just up that hill and beyond the fence. Witnesses are telling us, we spoke to two men here that witnessed what happened. One man was in a van pulling up on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. He said he had stopped off of Interstate 20 to get some gas. He doesn't live here. He lives in California. He said this was his first time in Metro Atlanta. He was driving down Fulton Industrial trying to get back on I-20 when he said he pulled up on a suspect who had a weapon and started firing at police officers. When he saw that, he said he dove to the ground, or rather to the floor of the van that he was driving to try and take cover, and he said he heard a bunch of gunshots, and then he said he heard an officer yelling and crying for help. Of course, he was scared for his own safety, so he said he just stayed there on the floor of his van for a while, basically unable to move because he couldn't see what was happening, and then he said eventually tons and tons of police swarmed this area and were able to help that officer. South Fulton police are telling us 2 police officers were shot. We're unclear where that second officer was shot. That witness we spoke to only saw the one officer crying out for help here on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Now, we also spoke with another man who is staying at that hotel up here on the hill. He says he heard several gunshots. He was asleep around 11:40 when this happened this morning. And when he heard those gunshots, he said he woke up. He got up and walked over towards the window of the hotel room he was staying in, and he says when he looked outside, he saw a person shoot themselves. That is unconfirmed by police. We do know that the suspect here is dead, but police have not confirmed how that person died. So again, we are waiting to get more information from Fulton County police officers and South Fulton police officers to try and figure out what exactly unfolded. But again, we do know that there's one scene here out on Fulton Industrial and a second scene up the hill in the parking lot of that hotel. From our first alert chopper, we've been able to see that there is a body covered up as well in that parking lot, which is likely the suspect here that the police have confirmed is deceased. At this point, though, we don't know how exactly that suspect died.
And Chelsea, I imagine, we see already just from your camera the massive law enforcement response, but it's very personal when you hear of a colleague or just someone that is within the same law enforcement community as you that is injured or shot in this way. It really becomes personal for them. Have you gotten a chance to talk to any of these investigators?
We have not. They've all been obviously very busy out here, but I would describe the mood as tense, as sad. It's always, unfortunate to hear about these incidents. We also haven't been given an update on those 2 police officers' conditions. We do know that they were taken to Grady Hospital, where we have also sent another crew to try and gather some more details from there.
I just want to confirm for some of the comments that we are getting on this live stream. Right now, there is not believed to be a community threat or an active threat to residents in the area. I just want to confirm that you are getting that same information.
Yeah, that's correct. South Fulton Police have confirmed that the suspect is deceased. So they are saying there's no threat to anybody in the area. There are a lot of people just walking around out here too, kind of trying to check things out for themselves, see what happens. So there's definitely no immediate threat to this area on South Fulton Industrial Boulevard near Interstate 20.
Chelsea Bime for Atlanta News First reporter. I know you'll join us back here on air for Atlanta News First News at 3. I just want to thank you so much for this update. I know you're talking to a lot of witnesses in the area and gathering information for us.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. We'll see you later.
And I just want to take folks out to that second scene that Chelsea was talking about. I'm going to try to route that shot for you here, so bear with me, just so you can see really what the situation looks like in this separate area of the investigation. This is where we see more law enforcement. In my All right, sorry about that, folks. Just had to step away to talk to some of the team here back in the newsroom as we're navigating two separate scenes that I can get more information for you here in a moment, but I just wanted to clarify that second scene is another investigation that is happening unrelated to this one. I just want to keep folks on this story for a moment while I gather more details on that second investigation. Again, an entirely separate investigation that is ongoing, also seeing a law enforcement presence there. But this one that you're looking at, this is our Atlanta News First camera here along Fulton County Industrial Boulevard in southwest Atlanta. This is where crime scene tape, a number of law enforcement vehicles are staged, blocking this road off, just off of the motel where the scene first started, where a Fulton County police officer responded to a 911 call of a suspicious person near a Budgetel Inn and Suites. And that really only escalated from there. Again, just bear with us. Our crews are moving around, trying to get you a shot as best as possible. While they are adjusting, I'm just going to take you back to Grady Memorial Hospital. Again, still waiting to learn more about the officers that were injured and really the extent of those injuries. Those were the officers that had responded to the Budgetel Inn and Suites along Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and that's where we're told an exchange of gunfire took place. Again, a Fulton County police officer and a South Fulton police officer are reportedly injured, getting treated at Grady Memorial Hospital. We don't know the extent of those injuries. What we do know, however, is that the suspect is dead. We just spoke with our reporter, Chelsea Bimefor, giving us some more details and context into what she learned from witnesses. And of course, we're working to confirm that information back here at the newsroom through our conversations with law enforcement. All right, thank you for bearing with me. Again, just trying to talk to you, give you the latest information, taking you through these live pictures as they become available, and then just stepping away to talk to our team here in the newsroom and our crews out in the field. I just wanted for a moment, because I know I showed that another scene to you earlier, wanted to give you some context. This is entirely separate from this officer-involved shooting that we have been talking about really since 12:30. What you're looking at right now is outside of Fulton Industrial Boulevard in the southwest Atlanta area, where we have learned that 2 officers were shot. A suspect is dead. There was a gunfire exchange that took place, and those officers are now at Grady Memorial Hospital, where, again, we are keeping our eyes out for any new information on the extent of their injuries and the progress of their treatment, as well as who these officers were and their identities. So as soon as we get any of that information, you are going to be the first to know here on Atlanta News First Plus. But I want to take a moment to talk about again, entirely separate scene. I'm going to switch the camera here and my graphic just so you can follow along with me. This is another investigation that we are following in Northwest Atlanta. We are again, light on details, still working to get more information, but this is along Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. It's across the street from the park at Joseph E. Boone and Westlake. So you can see a number of law enforcement, similar to the scene we see in Southwest Atlanta, a little more active as they are responding to this area. The circumstances surrounding this investigation, they're not giving us a whole lot of detail, but they do look alert. And you can see, really, as we've been following this behind the scenes, more and more law enforcement respond. We do know that they are currently investigating some sort of shooting involving, gunshots, obviously, in this area, but they are not giving us a lot of details until this investigation progresses more. So as soon as we learn anything, keeping an eye out on this as well, we'll let you know. Right now, we do see a number of officers in the area. Again, Northwest Atlanta. This is Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. I want to take you back to our original story and the investigation going on in Southwest Atlanta involving those 2 officers. So again, switching my shots, switching my graphics. I know with law enforcement and the similarity of these scenes, it could look like one story. Just want to emphasize these are separate investigations. We are following this officer-involved shooting where 2 officers have been injured after getting shot and a suspect is dead. This is the scene along Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and of course, separately, the previous picture that we were just looking at, Northwest Atlanta, Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. All right, I do believe we just lost that shot as well. Again, just want to emphasize, hopefully I can get you a live picture back here shortly, but let's walk through the latest information of what we know. I have my notes down here, so if I'm looking down, it's just to make sure that I'm reporting to you the latest information and really where we are at this point. There's still a lot of unknown to this. We don't know the identities of the suspect or the officers involved in this shooting. We currently do not know the extent of those officers' injuries. We do know that the suspect is dead at this time, but this investigation is near a Budgetel Inn and Suites motel. It's just off of Fulton Industrial Boulevard in the southwest Atlanta area. We are told that a Fulton County police officer responded to a 911 call about a suspicious person near the motel, and that officer, when they arrived, there was an exchange of gunfire. Now, we are told that 2 officers were shot, a Fulton County police officer and a South Fulton police officer, and those officers have been taken to Grady Memorial Hospital for treatment of their injuries. Again, I could not tell you the extent of those injuries. We can only hope that they are okay and recovering. We are working to get more information, again, surrounding that initial call and what the suspicious activity was, as well as who that suspect was, and more details. Again, we've gotten some stories from witnesses who say that they were in the area when they heard these shots ring out. We are just working to confirm those with police, so I don't want to echo what those witnesses said before confirming that they are in fact what happened. So as we continue to follow this live really investigation that has been active since 11:40 this morning. It is currently 1:27. We've been following this for quite some time. We are going to hopefully get some answers to those questions. We have Atlanta News First crews on the ground outside of the motel where the crime scene tape you saw for the longest time was able to get you a ground shot here. Establishing quite a wide perimeter. I think I got my shot back here, actually. Let's see if we can take you back here live. Okay, I don't want to take you live at this moment because we are, it appears, doing a report here for some of our other stations partners. But as soon as that is done, hopefully I can get you that live picture back and we can take a look at the scene that is going on at this time. Again, bear with me. I'm presenting you all of the information that we have as it comes into our newsroom. Hopefully we can get you video from our earlier coverage, some of what we were able to see from the ground, and of course from our first alert chopper that really painted a picture of how wide this scene has been established, this perimeter, and the extent of how many law enforcement agents responded to this within minutes, really, of that first officer and second officer being shot. We started to hear of a number of neighboring law enforcement and partners responding. Atlanta police now assisting, Fulton County marshals assisting, and of course South Fulton police and Fulton County all on scene helping to really navigate and comb through this area. We saw evidence markers on the ground and the entire parking lot of the motel blocked off, as well as the road leading to that motel's parking lot's entry. So we are still working to piece together really the full story of what happened here. Atlanta News First Chelsea Bimfor is going to bring you a live report here on Atlanta News First starting at 3. And of course, we're going to continue to take you through every development as we learn it. We're going to be right back with any new information, a recap of what we know and what we're currently working to learn just after this short break. want to welcome everybody back here at the First Alert Desk on Atlanta News First Plus. Again, appreciate all of you bearing with me, some of you who have been with us since this live stream really first began, and we received those initial reports of shots fired and shooting involving officers in the southwest Atlanta area, and it's only developed from there. We've gotten a lot more details over the past hour since we have been on with you. I just want to recap some of the information as we continue to gather really what we know. This is a look outside of Grady Memorial Hospital. I'm just going to update my graphic here so you can get an accurate location. Grady Memorial Hospital, where those two officers have been taken. Those officers, again, were involved in the shooting. We are told they were shot and injured and were rushed to Grady Hospital. We're now receiving treatment. They are not giving us a lot more information on the extent of those injuries or who those officers are. We are working to get that information for you, and as soon as we learn anything, we'll bring you those updates. Just want to walk folks through exactly what we currently know and what we currently are working to learn. So this began at around 11:40 this morning, so just under 2 hours ago. A Fulton County police officer responded to a suspicious person call at a motel near Fulton Industrial Boulevard in southwest Atlanta. That is where an exchange of gunfire was had, and two officers were injured, a Fulton County officer and, of course, a South Fulton police officer, the one that had initially responded. We are also told that the suspect has died during this incident, and those officers were then taken to Grady Memorial Hospital. Of course, still a live and active crime scene tape in the area, a number of evidence markers, and a large police presence that is made up of different law enforcement departments. We're talking about Atlanta Police, Fulton County Marshals, South Fulton Police, and others that are responding and assisting with this investigation. And then you have more law enforcement officers outside of Grady Memorial Hospital, just working to learn more about the condition of their colleagues. That was more prevalent earlier during this live stream. We've seen a number of those officers either leave to respond to other scenes or leave to respond to the Fulton County Industrial Boulevard investigation that is ongoing. I do want to talk about another investigation that we are following, and I want to emphasize that these are separate scenes, and we are working to learn more about each one of those and report that to you. I'm going to switch to that other scene here, and just, again, emphasizing that this is separate, unrelated to the Southwest Atlanta incident involving those two injured officers and a suspect that we're now told has died. This is in Northwest Atlanta along Joseph E. Boone Boulevard. This really has been a tight-lipped investigation. We're working to piece together exactly what is happening here, but we do see crime scene tape. We saw a number of officers in tactical gear, a large police response, Atlanta Police, other agencies that are assisting with this, and really not much else that they're telling us at this time. We don't know if there have been any injuries and really the extent of the situation. But we do know that gunshots rang out in this area and there was some sort of shooting. I do believe we see a gentleman in the back of a law enforcement vehicle working to learn more about his connection to this scene as well. So as soon as we learn anything, we will bring that to you in the Atlanta News First app. It's a free app, and it is a fantastic resource if you're trying to stay updated on breaking news in your community. We send out notifications to your phone so you can click into that and really learn what we're learning in a quick and easy manner. And of course, you can tune into live streams like these on Atlanta News First Plus.